Hey guys, Zomfox here, and today it's time for the second to last game picks video of the 2025 UFL season. Why? It's playoff week. We are finally to the conference championship matchups between the Michigan Panthers and Birmingham Stallions and the DC Defenders versus the Battlehawks. Both these games, as you can see on screen, are being played on June 8th, Sunday. I will be doing a live play-by-play for both games. Yes, it's going to be rough, 6.5 hours, pretty much straight streaming. Not looking forward to it. Overall, though, let's just get right on into exactly the overall betting lines and all that. Panthers-Stallions game is 1.5 point spread, with the Stallions being the favorites. They are the home team. Over-under is 46.5, with the money line of plus 100 for the Panthers, minus 120 for the Stallions. Not super shocked at this one. Let's just call it like it is. The Stallions have kind of slowly overtaken the Panthers as being that team that I think most people still believe is probably going to somehow will their way to the championship. A lot of people want to say that they think someone else is going to win it, but I think we all kind of have that dark feeling that the Stallions just might get it done this year. Why? J.M. Smith's been incredible. Since becoming the starter for the team, as being the fifth-string quarterback, he's just been on another level. In a pure statistical standpoint, he has been the best quarterback of the season, or at least right now. Yes, I know Perkins still overall has been better, but he hasn't played in a while, so even if he's fully healthy, the better quarterback on paper is Jamar. Not good for Michigan. But who do I think wins this one? Well, look, Birmingham's never lost, and there's always a first time for everything. When you look historically at their matchups, they have a lot of games that end up being pretty close, but Birmingham finds a way to win, right? The missed Jake Bates field goal at the end of the season last year, the playoff game, which was really close to the third quarter, happened. One of the games earlier this year, the second matchup, Jamar, Deion Kane ended up winning the game. I think Michigan finally gets it done. What it really comes down to is the fact that Michigan is getting healthier. Yes, I know there's a couple guys on the injured list, but it's nowhere near what it was. And the fact is, their team regarding depth versus Birmingham is where there's a big divide. Depth for Birmingham has never been an issue. You could legitimately just snap your finger and have every single starter sprain their ankle and be forced to miss the game. And their team's really only getting so much worse. Whereas every other team in the league, if that happened, they're screwed. So what do I mean by that? Well, both teams have about the same amount of guys on that injure or the IL report this time. And I know that IR-wise, Birmingham has a few more. But in terms of overall depth, it matters a lot less for Birmingham, whereas Michigan, their starters getting healthy matters a lot more. Seeing guys like Matt Colburn coming back, seeing Speaks coming back, hopefully having both Javin White and Perkins healthy for this game. If they're healthier, they should be able to finally get the W. I said before, I think that whoever won in Week 9 was going to lose in this week. I just had that feeling that they're going to split out those last two games of the season. And I think it's going to be a high-scoring 30-27 game. Why? Yes, Birmingham's defense is really good, but historically, this season against Panthers teams, they've allowed an average of 20 points a game, despite one of those games being against Danny Etling, and the other game having the worst game Perkins played all year, plus that awful special teams performance. So in theory, you would imagine that a healthy Perkins with a healthy offense, this Michigan team could put up 30 points. Michigan's defense, even though it will be healthier, Birmingham's offense is just a really good unit, and it's pretty hard to truly stop them. So I think that even then, Birmingham still puts up about 27 points, make this a really close, high-scoring game. Overall, though, I think Michigan gets a W. St. Louis, DC. Really shocked at the line here. St. Louis is a 2.5 point favorite, over-under is 46.5. Now, the over-under I'm not super shocked at, but I am shocked at the overall spread of it being a 2.5 point spread. I would have figured this would be a lot more of a lopsided one. The fact is, DC has been clearly the weakest of the four playoff teams. We've kind of known that for about upwards of 4 weeks now. When you look at the odds to win the championship, DC's odds just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And yes, to the point where if you did bet on them, you probably at one point were maybe at plus 500, 600. I don't know what the odds are exactly at this moment. I didn't check when making this video, but safe to say they have the worst odds to win it all. Their path to the championship is the hardest, not necessarily because of, they have so many tough games, but in the sense that no matter what, they're playing teams better than them, whereas Michigan and, Birmingham, if somehow St. Louis loses and DC moves on, it's one of those things where it's they have a, in theory, cakewalk game, but that's what Defenders fans said against the Renegades a couple years ago. Point is, St. Louis wins this one 24-14. I don't see how DC wins this one. DC's offense is just, their whole team is not a playoff team. I've been trying to preach this for the past 4 weeks. DC is a team that has a defense that has high ceiling, single level talent players in a sense where they will put up their numbers. Your Joe Wallace's, I know that there's some injury going on with the D-line. They had to re-sign Davin Bellamy. Again, another guy that can get you good stats. Of course, DeAndre Baker's had some good stats, but as an overall unit, they've been one of the 2 worst defenses in the league. Again, them and San Antonio are by themselves on an island for worst defenses in the league. When you consider that Houston, their bad stats are mainly because of week 1, and Memphis just because of lack of takeaways. Whereas DC, they've had takeaways and they just still can't do anything. Now, the offense. They're an effort go deep team. If DC wins this game, it is going to be because this game becomes a shootout. That's where St. Louis really can't afford to let this game. If this game becomes like what I predict the Michigan-Birmingham game is, St. Louis is probably screwed. Duggan has not shown you the ability to consistently put up high-scoring games. He's done it a couple of times, but historically, this season, he's somebody who can get you a couple of really solid drives, and you need the defense to do a lot of the work. Yes, if Sailors has a great game that can kind of change everything, I think if you're St. Louis, you need to hold DC to under 20 points. I think you can win if they score more than 20, but if they put up more than 25, you're going to lose. That's what it really comes down to. Hence why I have St. Louis winning at 24 points. I think that in all honesty, that's the most amount of points they can probably score in this game, even with this weak DC defense. Because again, it's just not an awesome offense like we expected it to be with this dual threat. That was the whole point of getting rid of McCarron, was so you had a dual threat quarterback. And you saw with Silvers that on a passing standpoint, just like McCarron versus Manny and Duggan this year, it's a lot better when you have a true pocket passer. Yes, you lose the dual threat nature of the quarterback being able to run, but it's one of those where you're giving some, you're losing some. Overall, though, I think St. Louis wins 24-14. Now, overall record ending the regular season, this was a negative week. I think this was the first negative week in a few weeks. It may have been I don't think it was the first overall, but it was one of the, I think this second or third. Though we still did get a 3-for-3 game, so we officially had more 3-for-3 games this season than last year, hitting 8. As the Birmingham-Memphis game, I correctly predicted it was going to be a just curb stomping by Birmingham, though I predicted it would be like 30-20, not like, 45-9 or whatever it was. So, yeah. Did technically finish that with more perfect games. Again, we still have a couple more, 3 more games. So overall, when it comes to the bottom 3 stats, yes, I never had a perfect game score, but in terms of team score and going 3-for-3, it was better this year than last year officially on both, and we still have 3 more games left. Overall records, over-under is the one to note. Again, these are my game picks, coincide with the betting picks. Over-under, I've been hovering around that 500 mark for a while. Still one above it because I went like 2-2 this week. The money line I went off on, went like 1-3. Thought a couple upsets would happen that didn't. Cough, cough. I thought San Antonio was going to pull it off. Yeah, I know. Having faith in San Antonio this year was not a good call. But overall, spread guaranteed to be positive. Money line guaranteed to be positive. Though overall spread is not guaranteed to be fully positive. I know technically 500 is considered positive. I don't really view it. I view it as 500. So if I get at least one spread correct, I will guarantee that I finish the second year of the UFL overall. This is this year and last year having a positive record. Over-under, obviously I need to go basically 2-1 to guarantee that I'm over. If I go 1-1 also, technically if I get like one that's tied, but it probably won't happen. We'll see how it goes, but overall that'll do it. This has been ZomFox. Enjoy this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. Again, I'm doing 2 live play-by-plays on Sunday, going back-to-back for those 2 games. Gonna be rough, but we got those. And I am working on the Friday Night Football tier list video and the Memphis-Houston video now that the regular seasons are over for both those teams. I can officially make those videos about whether or not they should relocate or not. And the Friday Night Football tier list video probably will come out next week. I don't know for sure. It depends if awards come out. Like I said, some of these videos I'm trying to save for once the season ends after the championship game, though we obviously have the championship power rankings, so we'll see about that. But as always, guys, have a great night.